Hey everyone, it's baze.djunkiii transmitting from Hamburg, Germany, back with a new video with my chart haul for April 2K16. We're 2 weeks in the month, so it's time to show you the records and CDs I really enjoy recently. Like some I got sent as promos, some I bought myself, so be curious what I gotta show you, and we're going straight into this with I, which is the I edition from Dr. Noisem's the CDR ABC series. Once again, a limited CDR, limited to 26 copies worldwide, one track on the whole album, which spans like 70 plus minutes. And in opposite to the other releases in the monthly series, this one is more like deep listening and ambient and not so much noise focused. For the next one, you've seen already in an unboxing video, Maya Ozonic's new album Let Them Grow on Unrecords. You've seen the unboxing like a few weeks ago. Very sweet album art, and she sent me like a nice letter when she sent me this album, which is very much vocal based but avant-garde in the same time, with like a wide range from like ambient listening stuff with vocals to like apocalyptic folk, and some tracks have like the feeling of a big like Broadway ballad with experimental electronic backing. And she sent me this album because she was involved in one album I reviewed on my website baze.djunkiii a few weeks prior to when I got her letter, which was Opsion Sound on God Records, and her LP, the LP of Let Them Grow, is released on God Records as well, and the CD is released on Unrecords, so very recommended, interesting stuff. And from Lithuania we got this little one, Antanas Rekasius Phonogrammatica, which is a very nice album with a sweet, here's the CD, there's the back, with a very unique cover, which feels like it's rubber coated. I don't know if you can see that. And here's this stuff here. The title is like reflective and like an extra print, very unique. And Antanas Rekasius was a experimental composer who lived in Lithuania until he passed away in 2003, I guess. And this album is like a retrospective of his work, released by the Music Information Center Lithuania, which spans like the time span from 1968 to 1981, I guess. So this is like featuring a few of his compositions, experimental neoclassical music, I'd say, with like very intense juxtapositions and like short repetitive like pieces. Very interesting and very unique if you're into neoclassical, and it features like sections with pieces taken from his compositions, which are epitaph, atonic, phonogram, fluorescences, and an Italian piece which is called Musica dolente e con brio, and I'm pretty sure that the pronunciation of these titles, especially of the last Italian title, was not right. So this is Antanas Rekasius Phonogrammatica on the Music Information Center Lithuania label. And Lithuania, as you might know, is a piece of the former Soviet Union, so Eastern European music, neoclassical works, pretty interesting. Also, there are like intense and not like the easy listening stuff, so you gotta take your time to go into this kind of music. Next we got a sweet little tendance you've already seen as well, the Beacon Sound Choir, Sunday Morning Drones on the label Infinite Grayscale. Just a quick one, here's the record and gold vinyl. You've seen that in an unboxing video as well. And actually what this is musically is drone, but not the kind of drone you might know from like electronic music, but these are drones produced by 30 members of the Beacon Sound Choir, which is located somewhere in the States, I guess. And what they did before they practiced, they started with like some vocal exercises, and these drones were one of them. So one lead singer starts like with a drone like voice, like wah or something like that, and then the other members of the choir like go in and like join them on the same tonal bass, and then the whole vocals like spread out and they find together again at the end of the drone. So this is like a recording of 2 vocal practices from a choir, which is pretty thrilling and pretty interesting, because it's like another like viewpoint and another perspective of what drone music can be. Now we're going into dub with one of my favorite releases for this month. Is Peng Sound 001 Repress Gorgon Sound Find Your Way with a remix by Dubchasm. Dubchasm are like legendary dub artists, which are also featured on the Dub Out West 2 compilation from 1996, and I don't remember the label right now, but I got the compilation and I really love that. So musically we have like more dub housey stuff, as it was defined in Germany, with like fast like 4x4 drums and classic dub bass lines and dub effects, and pretty up-tempo, uplifting stuff. So this is really good. The Gorgon Sound original can also like be played in a dubstep context, while the Dubchasm remix is more like a classic dubbed out like roller for all the classic dub fans, I guess. Next up we go into Juke and Footwork, DJ Rock, Practice What You Preach, on the Duck and Cover label, which is an 8-track LP, which comes at the price of a regular 12-inch, which is nice. And this one is like classic Chicago footwork in its whole spectrum, from like ravey bangers to like ghetto techy classics, and some jazzy stuff as well, some down-tempo tunes. And which is interesting, they also have the CD version of this featured in this album for like free as a bonus, so you get this CD as well. So also a very lovely cover, DJ Rock, Practice What You Preach, for all the footwork and ghetto house, ghetto tech fans. Now going to breakbeats with like a nice turquoise 12-inch on the Prospect Revolt label. Yeah, you can read that, Prospect Revolt. Triple F, FFF, an artist from the Netherlands, with a Sweet Revenge EP, 4-track stuff, like a mixture of like dark jungle and like classic jungle, in the vein of like a mixture of Soundmurder and SK1 maybe, and Sonic Sub Junkies. Some of you might remember their releases in the early to mid 90s on Alec Empire's Digital Hardcore label. So very rough and rugged, like jungle, breakbeat, amen, choppage stuff, mixed up with like dark bass lines and some rave stabs, and like also like fast 4x4 drums. Pretty intense. And FFF is a staple in the breakcore and dark jungle scene for over 10 years, so if you're into that kind of stuff, you might have heard of him or his productions on several labels. And Prospect Revolves is a more like breakcore influence or focused sub-label of the Netherlands based like Prospect drum and bass label, which is more focused on hard drum and bass, drum step and all that kind of stuff. And finally we go have some drum and bass again with Dub Physics, which is one of my favorite producers these days in terms of drum and bass. Very detailed, trippy, floating in between like half tempo and full tempo drum and bass. Like Do One features DRS, the legendary MC, and Doberman, the other track, featuring Ward 21, which is a legendary like dancehall reggae group, and also the The cover with the Doberman is very, very intense. Released on the Senkasonic label. Second release, which is, as far as I know, Dub Physics' own label, and highly recommended drum and bass, and definitely a killer if you're into that new school minimalists drum and bass with a very detailed thing. And Dub Physics and Skeptical have a release, but I had a release out like a few years ago, which I defined as like drum and grime, because it has very like a grimy feeling and also a grime MC on top. So if you're into drum and grime or like, as I said, minimalistic drum and bass, Senkasonic is a label to go, and the second release is out now. Like has been out for like 2 weeks, I guess, or 3 weeks, and definitely a good one. And this concludes my DJ charts or my favorite records of April. I could have showed another one. Well, I will show that. It's not on my top records, but this is lovely because it's a re-release. Karl Bartos Communication, which came out in like 30 years ago. And this is a reissue, and Karl Bartos is a former member of Kraftwerk. And this album has aged like surprisingly well, as I've like been writing in a review I've done for that album only recently on my website. So expect like some Kraftwerk references and electro, and a little bit of electro clash and stuff, and a little bit of retro futurism. So this is a pretty good album, and it's only re-released, as far as I know, on CD. So if you're collecting CDs as well and you like the sound of Kraftwerk, go for Karl Bartos Communication as well. And that's it for today. I'm out going into editing and stuff. Follow me on Sue on Twitter, wherever you can find me. You know the score. Leave me a comment, leave me a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you like haven't subscribed and are new to this channel. And yeah, let me know your thoughts, and I'm gonna see you in the next one.